Mode. So again, this is not going to be assessed in this exam, but it's important to cover. Mode is the most common value in a data set. So you'll probably find for most cricketers, and probably myself included, the most common value I score is 0. That's probably that when I walk out to bat, the largest likelihood is that I'll be returning with 0.
Why? Because he's hopeless at batting.
Because when it's the hardest spot to get a run. The hardest runner gets the first one.
No. Jack, you don't get runs though. Don't do.
Mode's about the most common value. Now there can be value in that, but is it as valuable? Is that as important as median and mean, do you think? Do you think that's as reliable?
Yeah, it's just super... No, it's not.
Is a mode the most reliable measure of central value? So the mode's the least valuable. Is it affected by outliers? Is the mode affected by outliers?
No. Yes, it can be. Oh my god.
It is unaffected. Because outliers are?
A fluke.
Flukes, so they shouldn't be the most frequently occurring event, should they? So we're going to look at... You're exactly right. You're not wrong. We're going to look at range now, and we're going to use the same data set I've got here to calculate our mode in a sec, or to have a look at our mode. Now for mode, you do not need to order your data. You can just look at your data and circle how many times you see a certain number.
Can you have more than one outlier?
Yeah, you can. In big data sets, yes you can. Really big data sets. So like if I was to get statewide scores on an exam, you'd expect to see some outliers. And they use things called a standard deviation to identify whether something's an outlier or not.
Or what happens if something is an outlier?
Can be a really good thing.
What happens if you just automatically get better? What happens if everyone's 67? Like something, like you got a test,
yeah,
and then on one test you get 2,
yep,
and the next test is something clicks in your brain, you get 10.
Yep, so one of them's the outlier. Either the 2 or the 10, depending. You'd need more data to know which one's the outlier, wouldn't you?
So would they test them again?
Well, you'd need to see how your tests progress over time. And you'd have to run the same test and that sort of stuff.
Every term.
Part of the reason. Now, range. Range is simply how wide the gap between your smallest and your largest value is. I think we're pretty familiar with that. So the other day when we did screen times, our range is between 7 hours a day and 0 hours a day. That can be prescriptive to data. What can that tell you about data? What's range all about? A word that starts with C.
The range from the first number to the last number.
Yep. So what does that tell you about someone?
Comparison.
Can be a good comparison tool. Can it tell you about someone's consistency?
Oh, that's good.
A small range means that your values are pretty consistent. A wide range might mean something a bit different.
That means your average would be easier to find.
Your scores fall closer to your average more often than not. Yep. So for this example, we've got 5, 7, 6, 1, 9, 12, 6, 15. You don't always need to, but it's often a good idea to put your values in place order. Then you find your smallest and your largest value. So my largest value is 15, my smallest value is 1. 15 minus 1. Biggest value minus your smallest value, my range is 14. What's my mode in that data set? Thanks, Tom. So what's my mode? What is the mode, first of all?
Most common value.
So what's my most common value in that data set? 6.
Yeah.
So here, with a blue square, is my mode. Did I need to calculate anything?
No.
It's purely an identification. Is range affected by outliers?
Yes.
Very much so. The most affected.
Why is that?
Well, because how do you find your range? What is your range? Is it?
Yeah.
I thought it was your biggest and smallest value.
Yeah, guess what that is?
So an outlier is probably going to be your biggest or your smallest value. It could be both.
Well, that's
Happy with that?